Happy Victory Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, isn't it great? Doesn't it feel good? We don't have to talk doom and gloom. We get to talk about a win, and it just feels awesome. Welcome into our live edition of Saints Now by Chat Sports. We've been going live every Monday and every Thursday, as well as every single game day. So make sure you are subscribed and make sure your notifications are on so that way you never miss out on any of the content. This morning we put out our Overreaction Monday video, and now we're going to get into some news, some takeaways, and everything else that I haven't really got to dive into yet about yesterday's win over the Giants. So if you're feeling good about this game, if you're feeling good about this team and you're ready to party, I need you to do one thing and one thing only. And that's give me a big ol' who dat in the comment section. Show some love in the chat. And I see Jerry G, Braden, Jartavius, Angel, I Love Football, and Sonia all hanging out with us. What's going on to the crew? Hope everyone's having a great day. And I am so excited to see every single person here on the show. We are rocking and rolling live on the channel. Did you see that, Slack? Give us a who dat in the chat. I see Sonia. I see Jartavius. I see Angel. I see Braden. Says Trace, if Chase doesn't practice this week, do we consider trading him? Why would somebody trade for a player who hasn't played? So, Braden, I understand the fan frustration of it, but also, so no, teams won't trade for an injured player. It wouldn't make sense to do it financially either. You would actually lose a ton of money if you traded for Chase Young or traded Chase Young away right now. So doesn't make much sense to trade Chase Young. But I will agree, it would be very frustrating if he does not participate in practice. We do have injury updates on him. We have some injury updates on Justin Reid. We're going to talk about that here on the show. Jerry, good to see you. Who Dat, good to see you. Jerry G, good to see you. I see I Love Football. I see Angel all hanging out with us. Thank you guys for tuning into the live program here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. I see Angel. Yeah, I know. We traded for a guy on IR, but not all the teams have Mickey Loomis as their GM. So there you go. Angel, good to see you. Shout out to Danola Chop. Good to see you. Shout out to Jordan Howden. He balled out. Yeah, he absolutely feasted yesterday. In replacement of Justin Reid, I was really impressed with him. First win of the season, says Jerry G. Totally agree. I'm celebrating it too. I'm happy to see the Saints finally get a win. And I want you to let me know who was the MVP of the matchup. I want you to let me know who deserves the game ball. I gave my game ball to Kellen Moore originally because I was like, it was his first win, man. It's awesome. Spencer Rattler, same thing. He got his first win. That's awesome. But I also did want to give a game ball to Kool-Aid McKinstry because, man, he finally emerged in a big way. He finally broke out, and this was a player who was long overdue for it, and we finally got to see it. So I want you to name your Week 5 MVP in the chat. I see I Love Football says Speed. What a game. I see Jartavius, Kool-Aid. I see Jerry G says Kool-Aid McKinstry is his MVP. Very, very nice. I agree with you. Jartavius is also Jerry G's MVP. Krogan says MVP is Kool-Aid. Braden, Spencer Rattler was his MVP. Lopez, who was your MVP?
I think I would have to lean Kool-Aid right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Offense only scored one touchdown. It's annoying. That all being said, defense scored one too, which was pretty nice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, defense did great.
Yeah.
I wish the offense could have capitalized on some of the opportunities that the defense gave them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
You had 5 turnovers and you didn't score a touchdown either of them.
No, I totally agree with you in that regard because it is frustrating to see that the New Orleans Saints were able to take so many opportunities away from the Giants. I mean, that realistically could have been a 30-plus point game.
Oh, it could have been an ass game.
It really could have been a massive, massive win for them. That being said, they made some mistakes. They missed field goals. They did not capitalize on opportunities. And this is a work in progress, and I think that the progress is clear, that it's there. So, Beezy says Cam was balling out. Yeah, he was having a good day. Yeah, I love to see everyone shouting out their MVPs in the live chat. We're going to use a few minutes today to do a mailbag, as we always do, so make sure you use hashtag Saints. Or if you want to skip the line, spend a few extra minutes on your questions, send in a super chat as well. It helps us grow the channel, helps us grow the company, helps us grow the team. Helps us give you guys more content if you do want to send in a super chat. We've been getting a lot of support and getting a lot of donations on the channel recently, so really do appreciate everyone who has helped us grow and helped us do anything like that. I love football. That will not work because you did hashtag space Saints. It very clearly says hashtag Saints right there. So hashtag Saints, and then you can ask the question. I love football. Yes, just like Where did Braden do it? Oh, right there. There it is. Yep. Braden.
Do it like Braden.
Message didn't pop through yet. Braden did it right. So if you guys do not use hashtag Saints, don't be mad at me. That's what the software needs. It's what the computers require. So if you use hashtag Saints, it's our computer's way of knowing you guys want to be on the show. So it pulls the questions, uploads them to our software. If you don't do hashtag Saints, you do hashtag space Saints, or you do @Saints, doesn't matter. It will not show up in our software. So make sure you use hashtag Saints, and then you ask your question. So I love football. Copy your question. Remove the space between the hashtag and the Saints, and that one would work. Braden says I will put it at the start next time. No, you're all good, Braden. I just didn't. Your message didn't pop up on my screen yet, so you're all good. It doesn't matter if it's at the beginning, if it's in the middle, if it's at the end. It just needs hashtag Saints. Yeah, you can send it during the mailbag right now if you wanted to. Isaiah, good to see you, bro. Hope you're doing well, my friend. We are going to be doing a mailbag. So like I said, if you have questions, you have hot takes, if you have anything you'd like to say, hashtag Saints. And I see Krogan with a great question right there. Appreciate you, Krogan. Isaiah, I know you'll have some questions for us as well. So make sure you get your hot takes and your questions and opinions in for our mailbag. And without further ado, we're going to talk some football. I'm excited to get into some injury news, some updates, and some information about this team because there is some info that we have to share that Kellen Moore recently made public in his recent press conference with media. So we're going to go through what he had to say. We're going to talk about injury updates on Chase Young, why he missed this past week. We're going to talk about Justin Reid. We're going to talk Cesar Ruiz. We're going to talk a lot of interesting people, a lot of good updates because there is a lot of information to share. So we're going to be providing injury news here on the show. The Nolo Chop Podcast, appreciate you. We'll get that question on the mailbag. Make sure you like the video. When we get to 15 likes, we'll get the content started. We're 4 likes away, so somebody hit that thumbs up icon for me. Daniel, good to see you, my friend. Make sure you use hashtag Saints, Daniel, if you'd like to be featured. Still trying to recover on the voice front. I was screaming, I was hooting and hollering yesterday. Did anyone see when Reid got the concussion? Yes, Angel. It was after the touchdown, the first touchdown that the Giants threw. It was in that first drive. I didn't see him get hit, but that was the reports that it happened after that. So there you go. There you go. All right, we're at 17 likes, so let's get on into it. Lopez, whenever you are ready, my friend, we can break it on down, and we can get into the show. And I'm going to get my timer pulled up right here, so that way we're ready to go. Goodness, my voice is hurting. My voice is hurting. Kyron, appreciate you. I love football. Are you nervous about the Patriots, Trizzy? I love football. I'll tell you what. Coming out of yesterday's game, I felt good. But then watching the Sunday Night Football win that they had over the Bills made me a little bit more nervous. I will say I think that this is going to be a game. It'll be an excellent litmus test for the Saints. You finally have some confidence after a true win. You don't have moral victories to piggyback off of. You have an actual victory. And that's a very, very big difference. So, I do think that this will be an interesting matchup. Drake May is going to have a really, really good day. I think he's going to be a big problem for the Saints. Stephon Diggs still looks like he's playing great football. I don't know if it was just because it was a revenge game for him or what, but I thought he was really good. Ramondre Stevenson, he is somebody who I think could have a big day against the Saints. But New Orleans did a good job limiting Cam Scatterbo, so hopefully they can keep the good run defense going. Hopefully the DBs can stay hot. I think the Saints defense found a good time to get hot and start really showing that they can do it. And if Chase Young can be back, I do have a little bit more confidence in this defense. But I am nervous about this game against the Patriots because I do think that they're a team that probably will end up winning that football game. I'm sorry if that's heartbreaking news to hear, but, I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to keep it honest with you. All righty, we're going to get into the show. I love football. We'll make sure that we hit this question again later on in our mailbag. I'll give you another answer, and I'll give you a little bit more expanded thoughts here. But let's get on into the content. Injury updates coming at you. Some news from Kellen Moore. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Thank you for watching Saints Now. Let me take another sip of water, and we can get this party started here. All righty, Lopez. Whenever you're ready, let's break it on down. Hold on, what is this? Demario Davis talking about Cam Scatterbo on the sideline and then trash talking him later on the field is absolutely hilarious. That's so funny. I need to go watch that later. Alrighty, let's get on into the news here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. Tushy for this one, Lopez. Cool, got my script up. All right, let's get on into it. The Saints win over the Giants just got even better, and I'm going to tell you why. Kellen Moore recently spoke to media and provided some updates around Justin Reid, Chase Young, and we're going to break it on down here at Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. Justin Reid yesterday, he did leave the game in the first quarter, and he was ruled out with the concussion. The reports after or during the game were that Justin Reid came out after, I believe it was the first touchdown that the Giants had in their opening drive. He came off the field, went to the injury tent. Pretty quickly after that, went to the locker room, and then inevitably was ruled out due to a concussion. But I want to tell you guys there is some good news to take away from this. For what it's worth, it could be a lot worse because if you ask me, when you have a concussion, I've never been concussed, but if you have a concussion, from what I understand, you're not supposed to be in bright lights. You're not supposed to be on your phone. You're not supposed to be where there's a ton of noise. And, you know, at the Superdome, during a win, it gets loud. The lights are really bright. And then he was also posting on X during the game. So I'm not going to sit here and say that there's nothing to worry about here. But it feels like there is optimism leaving this game around his injury. And like I said, Justin Reid was active on social media throughout the game, and we can provide the timestamps to prove it. At 2:21, Justin Reid tweets out, "Let's go." It was right after the Jordan Howden scoop and score. And then he tweets this, "Blood in the water, let's keep eating," just a few minutes later. That was after Kool-Aid McKinstry's first interception. And then, you know, the momentum's starting to build. You can see the script flipping for this team, and they're starting to take control of the game. He takes to Twitter and says, "Momentum. It's a hell of a drug." Very, very true. Momentum clearly carried throughout the second half for the Saints. They shut out the Giants in terms of scoring. No points allowed in the second half, which was awesome. And then he posted this just a few minutes later after the second McKinstry interception. Kool-Aid MF McKinstry. So his first tweet being at 2:21, his most recent tweet about the game at 2:48, that's multiple posts in about 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take this as a sign of positivity. I think that when you take into consideration the type of injury that Justin Reid sustained, being a concussion, pretty good sign that he's on his phone, pretty good sign he's on the sideline, pretty good sign he's celebrating with the teammates. And in terms of an actual injury update, Kellen Moore did let us know he is in concussion protocol, so we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, there will be injury updates coming throughout the week. The injury report does drop on Wednesday, so we'll be able to see more in terms of what his availability will look like, and we'll also get more insight on some of the other injured players on Wednesday, which is why you should subscribe to the channel. We put out Saints videos every single day. Most days we put out 2 pieces of content. Multiple videos that are 10, 20 minutes long. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's news, rumors, updates, multiple live shows a week, and even more, all by Saints fans for Saints fans. And if you need another incentive, we're on the road to 100K. We're pretty far away. 48,000, that's not going to happen overnight. But you know what can happen in this video? We just get to 51,250. That's not that crazy even ask. We're just looking for about 25 new members of our Golden Gang. So lock us in for 100% free. That way you can also get injury news, updates, and live content around your favorite football team. Now, there is no question about it. The lack of depth in the safety room is pretty concerning if you ask me. And going into the season, let's go even further back before the season started. Going into training camp, you had Justin Reid, you had Tyrann Mathieu, you had Jonas Sanker, Jordan Howden. Pretty nice little crew there. Then you have Tyrann Mathieu retired. So you go and sign Julian Blackmon, a really optimistic signing, a big player that gave you a lot of reason for hope for the defense. And then he gets hurt in the first week, gets placed on IR. His season's pretty much over. So that now leaves Jonas Sanker, rookie safety out of Virginia, to now be the starting safety. I'll tell you what, he's been good. I've been impressed with him. I like what I've seen out of Jonas Sanker. I mean, dare I say, this may be one of the best draft picks the New Orleans Saints have made since Eric McCoy. I mean, he's been really, really good, and he has emerged in a very strong fashion. But I also want to give a lot of credit to Jordan Howden, because when he filled in for Justin Reid, he made his presence very, very known. And this is a player, remember, last year in week 1, he got a pick. He got the first interception of the season on Bryce Young. And so Jordan Howden's a player that when he's been given opportunities, sometimes doesn't go amazing, but a lot of times he does answer the call. And I think that he stepped up in a really big way against the Giants. And for what it's worth, I think that his growth is something to definitely pay attention to. And I don't want to say that Jonas Sanker only stepped up against the Giants. Jonas Sanker stepped up in a massive, massive way across the board. I've been so impressed with what he's been able to do so far for the Saints. He's a player who had 7 tackles and a fumble recovery yesterday. Jordan Howden also had that scoop and score touchdown, 86 yards to the crib. I mean, these guys are giving me some big reasons and some big optimism for the Saints defensive back room in the safety area specifically. I really like the future of that, but hear me out. Let's say the Saints have like the 5th, 6th pick or something. I mean, Jonas Sanker, Caleb Downs, Jordan Howden rotation. That would be pretty fun. I'm just saying it would be pretty cool. But we're not talking about the draft today. We're talking about the players who stepped up. So I want to give a lot of kudos to Jonas Sanker and Jordan Howden. And we're going to talk some injury updates around Chase Young, Cesar Ruiz, Dylan Raines, and a few other players here in just one moment. But first things first, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor. And hey, it's back. Tushy, the best bidets ever. And look, I'm going to keep it real with you. After the Saints got their first win of the season, calling them a crappy team doesn't hit the same, especially now that I use a Tushy bidet every single day. And although New Orleans is rebuilding, it's never too soon to plan for Super Bowel season. Installing a Tushy bidet makes bathroom visits so much more comfortable for your guests and your pipes. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. 99% of people who wash with the Tushy Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom, and every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. And look, I'm not somebody who has a ton of expertise as a handyman. I'm not a plumber. I'm not really good with power tools. The best thing that I can do is hammer a nail into the wall. But putting in a Tushy bidet in my bathroom was so dang easy, I would even say a Falcons fan could pull that off. So remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners at Saints Now by Chat Sports can get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code CHAT. It makes for a great gift. The holiday season is right around the corner. So go get yourself or a loved one a Tushy bidet, stash it in the closet, bring it out during the holiday season, and gift that to your friends, family, or to your roommate, because Lord knows he probably needs a cleaner bathroom. Get started with Tushy bidets. Click the link in the comments and description of this video if you want to take advantage of the sale. Now let's talk about some injuries to monitor for this week. Again, we'll have to wait till the injury report comes out on Wednesday to know more information on some of these players, barring, massive breaking news. But I expect updates to come on Wednesday. Chase Young with the calf injury is somebody that we definitely need to take a look at and definitely monitor. We're going to talk about him in a second. Cesar Ruiz with his ankle injury. He's a player to take a look at and see, will he be available? Will he not? I doubt he will, but updates for him here in a moment. Dylan Raines, he also is an injury to monitor in terms of his toe injury. And then, of course, Justin Reid, we just talked about him. Really good news for the Saints. That was the only injury that really came out of this game. That's the only notable thing to discuss in terms of guys getting banged up in Week 5. So I think that it's a pretty good update in terms of injury news for the New Orleans Saints, which is why it makes this win so much better. You didn't really lose anybody to injury outside of Justin Reid. And when you did lose him, you saw a great emergence from Jonas Sanker and Jordan Howden. Now, let's talk Chase Young here. I'm just going to be totally honest. If Chase Young misses another week of football, I might crash out. I might lose it. We were told at one point this was a minor injury. He laughed it off. When we was asked, hey, you going to be missing some serious time? Hell no. That was his response. We've now had 5 weeks of football, and he has been available less than Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau. They started the season on the PUP list, and they both had severe knee injuries. And Taysom Hill tore 4 ligaments and his ACL in his knee. And he's 35. Let that settle in for a second. I'm not going to sit here and say Chase Young doesn't want to be on the field. I don't know why he continues to miss time, but it is a frustrating situation to say the least. Now, Kellen Moore did speak about Chase Young, and before I show this quote, let me make one thing explicitly clear here. By no means am I saying just get out there to play and risk further injury. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is what was once believed to be a minor injury clearly was not a minor injury. So somewhere along the line, somebody gave incorrect information. And that is a frustrating thing in itself. And of course, I don't know who to blame, but the situation in itself is very, very frustrating. And I don't think that you would disagree with me. Now let's get to Kellen Moore on Chase Young. Today, this is what he said, speaking to media on Monday afternoon. It was some really good work from his standpoint. We'll see if he's available to start ramping it back up on Wednesday. He's done a really good job. I know he wants to be out there. He's doing everything he possibly can. I think there's certainly some optimism there, and I think that that is some good news. But we've heard optimism around the injury before, so I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt. Now, Catherine Terrell, she put out this tweet because Kellen Moore did also add some context in terms of why he was ruled out on Wednesday as opposed to letting him try to get back throughout the week. And I actually think that it is an interesting point. For him, it was to reduce the outside pressure about whether or not he was playing. He said that there was no setbacks or anything, and he understands that the gamesmanship of the NFL, but just wanted to make things clear early. And I think that it was pretty interesting. He talked about it from a player standpoint. You don't want to be distracted. You just want to be able to focus on your recovery. And I do think that that makes sense. But all in all, the best thing for the New Orleans Saints to do is get him on the field sooner rather than later, because I do believe that Chase Young will improve this defense, and I think that this defense is a better squad with Chase Young on the field. I think that he is a player that could assist in the run game. He is a good run stopper. I think he's a player who could get after the quarterback and provide more sack production. I think he's somebody who just overall makes the defensive line a better unit because he has the high-level talent that not everyone else along the defensive line has or still has at their disposal. And when it comes to Chase Young, I can't help but think there's at least a few of those third downs throughout any of the last 5 games that you would have stopped. I can't help but think that there's a few of those times that there was pressures and the quarterback escaped the sack that he would have gone down. But I can tell you right now, in terms of the defensive line rotation, I think Chase Young is the player that needs to be the alpha guy. He needs to be the lead guy because that's what the New Orleans Saints paid him to be. Carl Granderson, in my personal opinion, I think he's great as a secondary edge rusher. I really like his abilities, and I really like his skill set. And I think that he's a player who is only getting better. Cam Jordan, in my opinion, awesome to have in the rotation. Awesome to be giving reps here and there to have him be fresh anytime he's on the field, though. You're not able to do that if Chase Young is unavailable. So if Chase Young is around, Carl Granderson is no longer your lead or star edge rusher. Cam Jordan's no longer the number 2. Chase Young is number 1, Granderson's number 2, and Cam Jordan can just get rotated in and just do his thing. And so, in my opinion, Chase Young needs to get back on the field sooner rather than later. If he's not back this week, I might have a crash out, just full transparency. Now, let's talk about Cesar Ruiz because there is information around him. He did suffer an ankle injury versus the Buffalo Bills. Torselli Simpkins did come in Week 4 and in Week 5 and filled in for Ruiz. He did avoid IR, which is a pretty positive update. According to Nick Underhill, he has responded well to treatment, and his timeline to return is still TBD. That being said, when it comes to Cesar Ruiz, I think that he is a player that, of course, we're frustrated with, but I think the offensive line is better when he's on the field. I think for full transparency's sake, when you saw the full healthy offensive line early in that Bills game, which is the first time we've seen that this season, they looked good. Like, they really did look good. And I don't want to sit here and say Torselli Simpkins has been bad, but according to the Pro Football Focus grades, he wasn't awesome against the Giants. Again, PFF grades, you take it with a grain of salt. They're not the gospel when it comes to evaluating players, but I do think it's a good benchmark or a good measuring stick, if you will. And with Torselli Simpkins, it is really awesome that he has had a strong start and he has had a reliable preseason, and he's been able to earn the trust of Kellen Moore to be the starter. It gives me optimism, gives me hope for the offensive line that we got a really high-level backup that maybe could develop into a starter and replace Cesar Ruiz, and we don't have to waste a draft pick on it or waste cap money on it. All in all, Torricelli Simpkins, I think, is fine. He is not, in my opinion, 100% ready to be a full-time starter, but I think that he's a serviceable backup, and I think that he's somebody I have faith in while Cesar Ruiz is out. And I also want to say the fact that a defensive line that has Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter, they didn't sack Spencer Rattler once. He was under a lot of pressure. He did get a lot of guys in the backfield coming after him, but I think he managed it well, and I think he handled it really, really well. And some of that has to be credited to Spencer Rattler, of course, and some of that has to be credited to Kellen Moore for game planning and being ready for it. Now, again, injury report will drop Wednesday afternoon, and we will provide you with that information and with all the injury updates that are made available as soon as it's released. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. That way you don't miss on any of the updates around the black and gold. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. This has been Saints Now by Chat Sports, and our win over the Giants just got so much better. All righty. First segment down. Queen Courtney, good to see you. Raquan, good to see you. SoCal, thanks for tuning in. Chase, Green Nation, good to see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I Love Football says I'm getting pissed about Chase Young. Feel that. Mere Comment says I don't want to go to work. That's how I felt this morning. Lopez just says don't go.
Just don't go. What are they going to do?
Yeah, what are they going to do, fire you?
You know, I saw something the other day that said if you drink like a bunch of alcohol before you go to work, they ask you to leave early.
You know, I also think it's ridiculous that a company can just fire you at will and not give you two weeks notice, but you have to give them 2 weeks notice.
Yeah.
So, mere comment. You could just be like, hey, here's my 2 weeks notice of I'm not showing up to work today, and then you just don't show up today, and you're like, I gave you notice. You could do that. Yep. Alrighty, let's get into the second segment. We're going to keep churning and burning here on the show. Live chat's popping. Good to see everybody hanging out with us. 45 people tuned into the show. We're going to be next looking at why the New Orleans Saints got more evidence that they are headed in the right direction. More evidence that they are doing things right. Give me 2 seconds, Lopez. I just want to double check something.
What's it? Prize Picks.
Okay. Boop. All right, Who Dat Nation. We're going to get into the next segment. Queen Courtney, thank you for tuning in today. Haley Hall, why did T-Matt put the blue? Are you saying why did Tyrann Mathieu retire?
Yeah, she's been asking.
Oh, why did Tyrann Mathieu retire out the blue? I think he just was ready to hang it up, man. I think he felt like he fulfilled his duties as a football player. Family, life, just don't have the energy, don't have the passion.
It's not like there was much more he could really accomplish. Won a Super Bowl, got a bunch
yeah,
of
like what more was there to accomplish?
Like he wasn't gonna win Depoy. It
Yeah,
wasn't gonna
like,
happen.
I think for him, the goal for New Orleans was to come back and win a Super Bowl. In full transparency, I think that he also realized that wasn't going to happen this year, and I think he just was like, you know what? I've fulfilled my goals. I've achieved everything I want to, and I feel like my cup for football is full. I think that's why he ended up retiring.
I don't even know if he wanted to win a Super Bowl here because it's not like we were in the best situation when he did come, but I think just the idea he got to play for New Orleans was probably the last thing he wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, well, the other thing is you don't want to, like, go and then be the center of, like, oh, let's trade him away. Let's do – like, it gets annoying, and it does get old. And, like, by no means am I saying that I'm a professional football player and I know exactly what Tyrann Mathieu's going through. But, like, for what it's worth, full transparency, it does get really, really old when people are always just talking about you on social media and always have something to say, positive or negative. It does get really old. And there's times where I'm like, I'm just detoxing for the weekend. Like this weekend, prime example, I was out with my buddy. He's about to head out to Venezuela to go play some fall baseball, and I just didn't touch my phone once. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of it. I've had some people say some crazy things about me recently, and I need a detox. I don't think that is something that we should, or I don't think that that's something that wasn't a factor either. Like, I think that it just gets exhausting always being a discussion topic and always having opinions about you. I think at some point you're like, you know what? I just want to be a husband. I just want to be a dude. I want to be a dad. I want to be a football coach. I want to be a guy in the community, you know?
You gotta think it's also worse for them too, because like we can put our phones down.
Yeah.
He put his phone down. He could turn on TV and he's still being talked
Yeah,
about.
exactly. Like
we're not being talked about on TV.
I can not check Twitter for 2 days and it won't affect me. But you turn on ESPN or you turn on NFL Network or you turn on CBS and they're going to talk about trading you, and then you're going to have people sending it to you. You're going to have people tagging you in posts. Like, you can't ever escape it when you're in the spotlight like that. I also see Easy Money saying, I don't know, man. I think Simpkins ready to take over the right guard position. Does a 0.0 pass blocking grade concern you? Like, truly. He gave up 5 hurries and 6 pressures. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say he isn't ready to be a serviceable player, because he clearly is. I'm not going to sit here and say that Torricelli Simpkins, I'm going to give the full reins to be the starting guard. But just not yet. Soon, sure. Not yet. I'm not going to do that. With the way Rattler has been playing and the unknown and Shuck, who would the Saints draft if we get a top 3 and top 5 pick? If we get a top 3 pick, and are you saying like if we have 2 picks in the top 5, or are you just saying like if it's top? Okay, here, assuming you're saying, honestly, I don't even know.
I think what he's saying
or a
is,
top 5 pick.
I think top 3, you're picking a quarterback. Because if you're picking in the top 3, you were bad. You didn't finish the rest of the season good.
I'm not picking a quarterback.
If you're in the top 3,
I'm not picking a quarterback this year at all. I'm not drafting a quarterback in the first round. I'm not even thinking about it.
If
All the
we're
quarterbacks
in the
college
top
football
3,
suck.
it's because our quarterback play was not great.
I'm not drafting a quarterback. I'm starting Tyler Shuck. I'm not drafting fucking Cade Klubnik. No. Garrett Nussmeier, he's terrible. No.
He's hurt.
Still bad. I'm good. So yeah, let's use a top pick on an injured player. That feels like a great idea. And we're not going to use it. Let's stop drafting injured players unless it's a guy that I really, really, really want. No, I'm not drafting a quarterback. I don't think the Saints need a quarterback right now because, in my opinion, the best thing for the Saints to do is go get safety or go get edge rusher or go get a weapon for the offense. And then you can go and get a quarterback next year or the following year. In 27.
That's when we get Arch Manning.
Yeah, like, I think that drafting a quarterback with a top 3 pick would be malpractice. None of the quarterbacks in college football have been that good, in my opinion. Michael disagrees. Definitely draft a quarterback. Michael, I could not disagree with you more.
I think it should
Name one quarterback in college football that's worth a number 1 overall pick that's been good. There's not one.
I think it really is going to boil down to how we finish the year.
Yeah, I agree. Because the other thing is,
I think if we play like we play, we're not going to be picking top 10.
End of the season, you have to play the Dolphins, the Jets. You still have to play the Panthers twice.
Titans.
You still have to play the Titans. The Raiders are terrible. Like, there's a lot of teams that are going to be interested in drafting a quarterback. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to, be really, really bad too. And I think the Saints may be one of those teams that starts really bad and then may end better and may win themselves out of a top 3 pick, honestly. Like, I don't think that's crazy to say. My other thing here is, again, it doesn't matter if you're number 1 overall or if you're number 5 overall. If you have the number 1 overall pick, I say trade out of it. I'm not even kidding. If you have the number 1 overall pick, I'm trading out of it. I would.
Would it be crazy to say
Because I don't want to take Reuben Bain Jr. Caleb Downs number 1 overall. I think it's just a little too high for that. So I would say, let's trade out. Let's get a shit ton of draft capital in return, maybe an awesome player, and let's let some dumbass team draft Arch Manning or something. Or like I don't think Ladora Sellers would be a bad pick. He's probably my favorite quarterback in the class right now, but still not sold on him being a top 3 pick if I'm New Orleans.
Would it be crazy to say, I want the Saints to be competitive week in and week out, but I'd really rather them draft in the top 5. I'm really tired of like these
No,
8, 9,
yeah,
10 picks.
I would like the Saints, in a perfect world, the New Orleans Saints win 4 games, and they still have a top, or maybe 5 games, just to say they had the same amount of wins last year, and they still get like a top 6 pick. Like, for what it's worth, last year, they were horrible, and their record was so bad, but the rest of the league was so much worse that somehow they were not a top 5 pick.
Yeah,
like
they were picking what?
Having the season that the Saints had and picking where they did is unheard of. And so with New Orleans, just
the problem is though I think that could be again this year.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
We have a list of 10 teams that the Saints could be better than at the end of the year.
I know. I don't it's a really hard thing because, in my personal opinion, locks to be top 3 picks for sure. I think the Jets.
Here's the bad teams.
Okay, yeah. Here's the list of teams. Here's some bad teams. I think these are probably the 10 worst teams in football.
You can order them how you want
them. It's not in order. Yeah, it's just these are the 10 worst teams in football, in my opinion. So I think the teams that'll definitely be picking ahead of the Saints: Titans, the Jets, the Dolphins, for sure. I think because you beat the Giants, you can go ahead and scratch them in unless they start rattling off a bunch of wins with Jackson Dart. The Raiders, they're bad. They are so bad, and they don't really have many signs of life. The Panthers, I know that they beat the Falcons 30-0, but they're a bad football team. Honestly, you could throw the Falcons on this list. I don't think that they're a good football team. The Browns are a dumpster fire, although their rookie class is starting to show some really good signs. I don't think they're doing anything too hot. Call me crazy. The Bengals are going to be dog shit without Joe Burrow. Don't expect them to do anything crazy. Maybe they're right around the same pick as the Saints. The Texans, also a bad football team. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that the New Orleans Saints will be picking before any of these teams. I'm also not going to sit here and say that they're going to be picking after all of these teams. I think they're going to be somewhere in the middle of them. But
5 wins.
Cool Sports Rhyme says tank for Fernando Mendoza. I think that would be legitimately the worst decision you could make. And plus, you don't actually have to try to tank. You will lose games inevitably. So the New Orleans Saints don't need to try to tank. That would be a stupid idea to tank for Fernando. Also, Fernando Mendoza, we're really going to start talking about tanking for. He's Indiana's quarterback, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, we're not tanking for a Hoosier quarterback. I'm good. I'll pass. Thank you though, but no, thank you.
I'm just scared that 5 wins get you around 7 or 8 again.
Yeah,
with the teams that we just showed.
I would hate to have like pick 11. God, that would be awful, dude. It'd be horrible. Harold Perkins is going to be a steal for the Saints because he is like a Taysom of the defense. I think we need to stop saying this. He's Taysom Hill of this thing.
I've never heard that until.
No, I've never heard anybody say. I've never heard anybody say, yeah, he's Taysom Hill.
Of the defense. Even better.
Yeah. I think we need to stop saying that because Taysom Hill is literally one of a kind. There never has been and there never will be a player like Taysom Hill. So let's pump the brakes there. What we can say is Harold Perkins is an ultra versatile defensive weapon. I think that is a better way to say it. He can play multiple positions. Okay, then he's versatile. I mean, Alontae Taylor plays multiple positions. Is he the Taysom Hill of the defense right now?
I guess we're going off that.
Like, do you see what I'm saying?
What does that make Travis Hunter?
Yeah, what does that make Travis Hunter? Is he the Taysom Hill of just football because he does it like? You see what I'm saying? It's like no, he's just I'm not taking anything away from Harold Perkins, but I'm just like, let's pump the brakes on this. He's like Taysom Hill. He's the Taysom Hill of this. What you're trying to say is he is an ultra versatile, ultra competitive weapon. Like, yes, in that regard, yes, but he is not a Taysom Hill. Let's just square it away because it's so funny. It's so funny when these things in these comparisons get thrown out because people get so butthurt whenever you start talking about, oh, yeah, compare this player to this player. Well, they haven't even done anything. They played college ball. We don't know. Taysom Hill also truly didn't take shape until, like, a few years into his career.
Taysom Hill sucked in college.
Yeah, Taysom Hill was not a good football player in college. Like, nobody knew Taysom Hill was going to be Taysom Hill except for Sean Payton. So It is what it is. Braden said, I never said he is Taysom Hill of the defense. I just said he plays multiple positions.
Someone literally
Braden,
said he is the Taysom Hill of the defense.
You should look at the message right above yours because it quite literally says, Harold Perkins is going to be a steal for the Saints because he is like a Taysom Hill of the defense. And then your message, Harold Perkins can play any position on the defense. He plays multiple positions. Wasn't okay. Braden, thanks for messaging, brother. We're gonna just move on. We're gonna move on. It's literally the message above you, dude. Let's keep this thing going. Second segment here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one's prize picks. That photo is in, right?
I believe it is.
The prize picks photo.
Yeah. I gotta make sure, but I'm 99% sure it is. Yes.
Cool. All righty. Thoughts on Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker from Texas? SoCal, use hashtag Saints, and I'll answer that question in the next segment. Alrighty, let's get after it. The Saints received some good evidence on some things that are really awesome. Did y'all see Kyler Murray get a snap and then it hit him in the face? That was so funny. That was hilarious. Alrighty, SoCal, I want you to know your message will not show up if you just put hashtag Saints. Okay. So, I don't know how to make this any explicitly clearer. And it gets really annoying having to re-say this. And I'm not trying to be rude. What am I supposed to respond to? Just hashtag Saints. Like, for context here. SoCal, I'm not roasting you. You're not the only one who does this. A lot of people do this. But, like, for context here. There it is, SoCal. There it is. Yes, thank you. So, like, for context, that's what shows up. Yes, Saints. I agree. Saints. Yeah, like that. You see what I'm saying? So, like, you cleared it up. You got it right. Thoughts on Anthony Hill? Hashtag Saints. Awesome. You got it right. But for the visual, so everyone can know, if you send a message and then you add hashtag Saints, doesn't matter. You got to include it in the message. And you notice how there's not a hashtag SoCal. You got it right though, because you did hashtag Saints, not hashtag Space Saints like some people do, and I don't get how that happens, man. It just. I promise I'm not making fun of you, SoCal. I just like.
This is a year-long thing.
This is something that happens every single week, and I have to re-explain this every single live show. And so, for the sake of the visual, I just needed to show it. So, SoCal, thank you. We're gonna be getting into the second segment here. Happy Monday, Victory Monday. Feeling good so far. You know what's funny is Geno Smith has thrown so many interceptions, and Spencer Rattler's only thrown one. Yeah, can we talk about the Colts being a 4-1 team with Daniel Jones? We have highlights on just like from Sunday, just because we didn't get to watch all of them in the background. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the Raiders are bad, but like, the Colts keep winning and they keep scoring a lot of points. When do we have to have a conversation about the Saints and the Colts being in a Super Bowl rematch this year? Yes, exactly. Yeah, Slim South. That roughing the passer call was disgusting. The NFL owes Carl Granderson a sack. Straight up. All right, let's get on into it. Second segment coming at you. I know, Jay Edwards. I haven't heard Victory Monday in a long time, and you get to hear it today, so let's do it. Let's talk about the second part of content. I think the Saints received some evidence that they are still a bad team, but a fun bad team. Let's break it on down here on the channel, live on Saints Now by Chat Sports. The New Orleans Saints received even more evidence that they are headed in the right direction. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. We're going to be discussing this topic here in today's video. And of course, let's talk about the obvious. The Saints just won. They beat a bad Giants team. That's awesome. You got to win. But it's still fair to say they're a bad team. But I can tell you right now, it is abundantly clear that they are headed in the right direction. And I think that the New Orleans Saints, they may be a bad squad. They may not win a lot of football games, but they're a fun bad team. They're a team that, although they may not win, you're going to still tune in. You're still going to watch. You're still going to scream at the TV every time we get a sack. You're still going to go crazy every time Rashid Shaheed scores a 70-yard touchdown. You're still going to go nuts when Taysom Hill touches the football. They're a bad football team, but they're a fun bad. And they're in a much better position than a lot of the bottom teams in the National Football League. So if you had to ask me who are the 10 worst teams in no particular order, you can rank them however you want, but here's just a list. I think that there could be an argument to be made about the Falcons being in here because I will never put them in a list outside of the bottom 10. They're terrible, but for the sake of it, I didn't put them here. Now I think in terms of teams that are definitely worse than the Saints, the Titans, the Jets, the Giants, and the Dolphins, 100% a worse football team. The Raiders, Geno Smith, he's been bad. Pete Carroll not getting a lot of wins. They just got blown out by Daniel Jones and the Colts, who, shout out to them, they actually are a pretty good football team. The Panthers, I know that they put up 30 points on the Falcons. Still don't believe in them. That's why I would even mention the Falcons a bad team, because they got skunked 30-0 by Carolina. The Browns, I don't think they're a great team. The Bengals without Joe Burrow, I don't think they're a great team, although they still have some really nice weapons. And Houston, they've been very disappointing to start the season. And so when you look at all these teams, there's some squads out here that are saying fire their coach, fire their GM, blow it all up, rebuild, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm here to tell you the New Orleans Saints are ahead in the trend over all of those teams, for the most part at least. And I think when it comes to New Orleans, you can absolutely tell that with Kellen Moore leading this squad, they are a much more organized and a much better coached team than previous years. I would go back as far as the late Sean Payton days. This feels like a team that has endless amounts of fight, feels like a team that is ultra resilient, and this feels like a squad that every single week is getting better. And look, you can kind of identify a handful of qualities about the Kellen Moore team. I think that they've done a really, really good job of establishing their identity. And I don't think they're finished by any means, but I think that they're doing a good job of establishing it right now. They're heavily leaning in the run. They're starting to push the ball downfield a little bit more. You're starting to see the offense open up. You're starting to see some of these guys return from injury, which creates more opportunities for the offense. And like we've said, this team is scrappy. They're resilient, not just on the field, but in terms of like the lives that these guys have all lived as well. I mean, you have a lot of players who have dealt with tons of adversity in their football careers. And they continue to fight. They continue to show up. They continue to try to prove the doubters wrong. And they fight with some of the best teams. They show up and compete with good squads. You can take away the Seattle Seahawks in that game. That game was crazy. I think they're a good squad. You also have a lot of promising youth. Offensively, defensively, there are some really good signs in the rookie class and the sophomore class and in some of these younger players still on rookie contracts. And I can tell you, I believe that there is a winning culture being built. You got to get one win before you can start that winning culture. But you don't have to win to create a winning culture. You can't call it a winning culture unless you're winning games. But it's very evident that this team is bought in and that this team believes in Kellen Moore and that they are really, really optimistic about the future. That's why all of these veterans are still around. That's why all these veterans outside of Tyrann Mathieu came back this year. That's why all these veterans haven't requested trades. It's because they believe in what's being built. They want to be a part of the foundation that takes this team to success and takes them back to glory. And they've, in my opinion, done a really good job of identifying the strengths and the weaknesses and then playing into those strengths and trying to avoid the weaknesses or at least addressing them and improving them. And I want to talk more about this game. It feels like this team is very reminiscent about the 2021 Lions. I've said this so many times before, but I want to ask a question. Are you a believer in Kellen Moore? Has he won you over? Type yes or type Y for yes or type in for not yet. He won me over very quickly. I know a lot of people weren't ultra thrilled with him, and there's been some questionable decision-making. There's been some questionable play calling. But he's also a first-time head coach, not a first-time play caller. he is heading in the right direction, in my opinion. And I mentioned this before. I want to kind of revisit this topic. What's the evidence that the Saints have headed in the right direction, or if they're headed in the right direction? We talked about how this team was reminiscent about the Lions after the Week 2 loss. Remember, Detroit in 2021, Dan Campbell's first year, they lost 6 games by 1 possession. They had a 3-13-1 overall record. They traded Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff and picks ahead of the season. And throughout each game, you could tell the tides were turning. You could tell that they had a lot of fight. You could tell that they were a scrappy team. And they played spoiler for a lot of different squads. And I think that's exactly what the New Orleans Saints are doing right now. I think they are in that exact same position. So in Lions in 2021, when you consider all of this, now let's consider the Saints in 2025. Again, not apples to apples, but it is very, very comparable, and it's eerily similar. The Saints have a 1-4 record. They have multiple one-possession losses. They've competed with some really, really good teams. Of course, they got blown out by the Seahawks, but they hung around with the Bills until the last few minutes. They climbed out of a hole against the Giants. They competed with the Cardinals, took them down to the last play of the game, took the 49ers down to the last drive of the game. And you can tell that the pieces are starting to come together, and you can tell that the tides, just like in Detroit in 2021, were turning. That is happening here in New Orleans. And look, I said this a couple weeks ago, and it's hilarious because I'm wearing the exact same outfit. Pretty ironic. I actually did not plan this, but ironic that this all worked out the way it did. Saints, reminiscent to the Lions in 2021. I said this after the Week 2 loss. I still believe that this is a true statement today. Coming out of Week 5, you're 1-4. I believe that the New Orleans Saints are still very, very reminiscent of the Detroit Lions in 2021. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that here in just one moment. We're going to look at some statistics. We're going to look at some more information. We're going to talk about some of the players that are helping this team get back on top. But first things first, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks, my favorite daily fantasy sports app. I absolutely love Prize Picks, and I play Prize Picks anytime I'm watching sports. And you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss out on any of the excitement this season over on Prize Picks, where it's always good to be right. It's the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. If you want to pick more on Josh Allen's passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns, now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. You can get in on football action in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And for this week, I got a fun little projection for Thursday night football. Listen here, folks. 2 projections, 2 plays. If there's 2 catches that are touchdowns, 1 for Devontae Smith, 1 for Theo Johnson, $20 wins you $230. Theo Johnson has quickly become a favorite target at Jackson Darts. Devontae Smith needs to start playing better football for the Giants, and we all know that they gave up a lot of passing yards to Spencer Rattler, and in my opinion, not as good of a receiving core as the Eagles. So I think it's pretty fair to say Devontae Smith and Theo Johnson will find the end zone at least once. I think it's fair to say that $20 is going to turn into $230 in cash for your boy. So if you guys want to fade these picks, you want to tail these picks, don't care what you do, just make sure you do it over on Prize Picks. They put their users first, so all withdrawals are fast and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 fantasy sports app. That is Prize Picks. Click the link in the comments section or description of this video and download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All that information is in the comments and description of this video, like I mentioned. Shout out to Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. All right, I kind of want to just revisit and re-discuss this statement of the Lions in 2021 are reminiscent, or the Saints in 2025 are reminiscent of the Lions in 2021. I think it's a factual statement. And for what it's worth, every time I say this and every time I look at the numbers, I'm like, oh my God, it is so true. Now let's look at the offenses here. In 2021, the Lions offense, 322.6 yards. That was 22nd in the league. The Saints are 24th in the league, not too far behind. Points per game, just 2 places behind. Yards per play, not as good, but I think that will get better as the season progresses. The third down percentage, very close. Saints are actually better. And into the red zone percentage, Saints a little bit better in that regard as well. And so offensively, you see both of these squads very, very similar. Of course, it also helps when you have a Jared Goff around, and the Saints don't have a Jared Goff around. But all in all, I do think that right now the offenses are still very similar. Now let's flip the script and go to the defensive side of the football. In terms of how the opponents play against these squads, the defenses, the Saints give up less yards per game than the Lions in 2021. In my opinion, that means that they're ahead on the curve in that regard. Opponent points per game, they're ahead in that regard. Yards per play, much better in that regard. Third down percentage, better in that area as well. And in red zone 2, they have been outplaying the Lions in 2021. So again, this is all just a conversation, and it's all just a comparison that the New Orleans Saints are headed in the right direction. What happened after the Lions 2021 season? They went off and had multiple successful years. They went off and were the first-ranked team in the NFC not too long ago. And they are a team that's competing at the top of the National Football League week in and week out. And we are also seeing the young guys in New Orleans take over. And I think that when you consider the statistics that we showed you a minute ago, all of those numbers may not get better, but you'll have a more accurate understanding of where the team is at, because we all know that Isaac Yiadom, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Justin Reid, even, like, all these guys are not a part of this team for the long haul and for the long-term plans. But you're seeing the young guys take over. Quincy Riley, Jonas Sager, Kendre Miller. They have started to get more and more and more reps. They have become starters in that regard. Not Kendre Miller as much, but Quincy Riley, Jonas Sankers are now starters. Whether it's due to injury or due to bad play, they're starters and they're playing good football. Jordan Howden is emerging now due to Justin Reid's injury. And he's a player, although he's not a rookie, he's starting to really make a name for himself. Spencer Rattler, Kelvin Banks, Talise Fuaga, all those guys are playing at a high level too. I mean, Kelvin Banks and Fuaga, of course, they were expected to be starters day one, and they're playing really good football. It feels like you have your franchise tackles locked down. And with Torsili Simpkins, the offensive guard who filled in for Cesar Ruiz, he took over his job, and he's played serviceable football while he's missing time with an ankle injury. So when it comes to the youth of this team, I think that's a very clear indication that we're starting to weed out the old and start implementing the new with Kellen Moore squads. And Spencer Rattler, he's heating up in a big way. A name that we didn't mention yet is Tyler Shuck, because I don't think he needs to be on the field yet. I think Spencer Rattler needs to stay on the field. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys are degenerate gamblers and who like to go to the casino, but if you're at the table and you're a hot hand, why the hell would you get up? If you're winning bet after bet after bet, if you're putting up good money, if you're doing things right, why would you get off the table? Why would you take Spencer Rattler out just to see what Tyler Shuck's got right now? Why not see, hey, Spencer Rattler's actually got it. He can do it. He's playing good football. For the time being, I don't think it makes sense to take Spencer Rattler off the field. I think he needs somebody who should continue to start. And I think that unless the season goes haywire and things go absolutely sideways, he should probably keep playing football through the bye week, dare I say. That's the earliest that I could see the Saints even considering making a change. But I think that's even kind of one of those things. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, because we'll have to see where the Saints are at in terms of their win and loss record and see how the vibes are when it comes to the bye week. Now, Spencer Rattler, in my opinion, has been pretty good this far. I don't think he's been perfect. I think there's been some clear mistakes. I think there's been some clear areas where he needs to grow and develop. But I think you cannot sit here and say that he has been bad, because he has gotten better. He has thrown for over 200 yards in every week except for one. He has cut his sack number in half. He didn't get sacked once yesterday on Sunday. This video is filmed as part of our Monday live show. He's playing good football. He's heating up at the right time, and I don't think it's a smart decision to even consider taking him off the field for the time being. I want you to grade Spencer Rattler's season so far for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Get in the comment section. A, obviously you think that he has been an all-star. F means he has been terrible and he needs to be benched. I think it's somewhere in the A minus B plus range for my personal opinion, but I'm eager to hear what you guys think. Now, of course, there's a lot of players that we haven't really gotten to see a lot of, and there's some guys that either, are on the practice squad or who are just have veterans ahead of them. I think Tyler Shuck, still is a guy that I'm excited to see, to be totally transparent. I think that he's a player who has some really interesting skills, and I'm really eager to see why Kellen Moore drafted him 40th overall. I want to see him be right, to be totally honest. Devin Neal, really, really eager to see more from him. Ultra productive player at Kansas, all-time leading rusher for the Jayhawks. He even actually got some run in the Week 1 game against the Cardinals, but hasn't gotten active since then. Danny Stutzman, of course, we're all waiting for his day to be the starting linebacker. People are concerned about Pete Werner. I think that taking Pete Werner out right now would be a bad idea. I think you have to actually kind of transition Danny Stutzman into the starting role. I think you can't just flip it immediately. You got to kind of ease into that. Jalen Ford, I think, has an opportunity to show what he's got. He was impressive in the preseason. Christian Boyd has done some really nice things as well. Fadil Diggs had flashes throughout the summer. I think that these are all players that are waiting for their shot that I do believe can be key contributors to the squad. And there's even other guys on the injured reserve list who I think, if they were healthy, they would be contributors. I mean, remember the Saints traded for Jalen Polk? Yeah, he's on injured reserve, and the Saints traded for him. But I'm going to sit here and say I actually think that he might be a contributor on this offense. Trey Palmer, he recently got placed on IR. He was a waiver wire claim. Unfortunate that he's not available. I was excited about him, but I think that he could be a contributor. Bub Means, y'all remember me saying it. I think that he was due for a massive breakout season. He was the big-bodied receiver for the Saints offense before he got placed on IR. And Vernon Broughton had an awesome summer. A little bit of an underwhelming draft pick at the time, but he has really, really shined when given opportunities. And so when all four of these guys are available, I think that they will provide some more juice to this team. And look, we're talking about a squad that ultimately right now is sitting 1-4. Vibes are high right now, but it's way too early to say, oh, yeah, we're back. We're good. Life's good. It's not too early to say the vibes are high, and we're headed in the right direction, though. And I think as the season progresses, we will continue to see the roles and the usage of the younger guys on the roster, and specifically Kellen Moore's guys, we'll see those roles evolve and expand each week. I think when you consider Kendre Miller and Devin Neal, I would not be surprised if you saw them getting heavy rotation late in the season, especially if the Saints aren't competing to be in the playoffs, which I doubt they will be. I could see Tyler Shuck getting into the mix late in the season if things go haywire. I could see Danny Stutzman starting to get some more run here in the next few weeks, especially if Pete Werner continues to struggle a little bit. And especially if any of these guys get dealt at the trade deadline, that immediately opens up the opportunity for guys like Danny Stutzman, Jalen Ford, Fadil Diggs, any of these guys who could potentially get traded, anybody who's a backup to those players, might have an opportunity and a clear path to the starting role. Look, I'm eager to see this team in year 2 and year 3 of Kellen Moore. I think year 1 is going to be that it's tough, it's scrappy, we're a fun, bad team. It's going to keep you engaged. You're going to have reason for optimism some weeks. You're going to be really pissed off other weeks. I think year 2, it'll be better. In year 3, this thing will be a fully functioning machine. So it might be too early to say this. It feels like this 2025 draft class, the Saints nailed. Of course, a lot of that will be decided with how Tyler Shuck ends up being, because he's the quarterback. He was the 40th pick. There's a lot of controversy around that selection. Might be early to say it, but it feels like the Saints nailed that draft. And when it comes to the New Orleans Saints draft, I think that this is a team that needed to nail this draft. They had 9 selections. They had to have a good draft. They've had some really piss-poor draft classes recently, and they've been kind of riding the highs of the 2017 draft class for too long. And so for New Orleans, I think that they nailed the 2025 class. But I think that they must draft well again in 2026, especially if you only walk in with 5 picks, which is what you currently have. You have to hit home runs, especially in those first 3 selections. You can't keep whiffing on your second-round picks. How many times are we going to do that? Let's go get proven players. Let's go get guys who can contribute. Let's go get guys who will be bought in and who will win immediately and who can help us get back on top of the NFL world. I think that the NFL is due for some pretty big things from the New Orleans Saints, and I think the future is absolutely bright for the black and gold. And if you agree with me, hit the thumbs up icon and drop a like on this video. My name's Trizzy Trace Girouard. I just gave you my take on why I think the Saints just got more evidence that they're headed in the right direction. And I hope you enjoyed my 20-minute breakdown about why I believe that. You've been watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Y'all stay golden, and we will see you next time. Sorry, I just had a lot of shit to say on that one, Lopez.
Dude, it's not you, but
I just kind of got in my bag there.
I'm gassed on
You're good, brother. You're good. You're good. Hey, everyone, show some love to Lopez. Type Lopez in the chat because my boy needs he needs a little bit of energy. You need Celsius?
I might go grab one before we start this thing. Like a little Celsius packet.
Hit it. Right here, I can just ask somebody to bring one.
Oh,
let me just do that.
Appreciate it.
Do you have a water bottle? Or do you need water?
I got one in my bag.
Here. Hey, Durham. Would you mind handing me a Celsius packet really quickly? That would be awesome. Thanks, buddy. I think there might be some in there, but I know there's some on the other side. Thanks, pal. Okay. Celsius packet incoming for Lopez. We brought so much energy yesterday that, no mystery.
Dude, Mondays are always rough.
Dude, Mondays are tough in general.
Sundays aren't bad. Turning around Monday is
Sundays are tough, but especially after the Sunday we had yesterday. I mean, that was a training game. The emotions of the lows to the highs were so drastic, and it was so much all game long. It was exhausting. So thank you guys for helping my boy out, get some energy. We're getting him a Celsius packet so he can get hydrated. If you need some of this, I can pour some of that in a water bottle. Okay. Make sure you use hashtag Saints. Send in a super chat if you would like to be featured on the program. We already got one super chat, so we're going to start off the mailbag.
Actually, I believe.
Oh, we have a couple.
I think so. We had 2 of them.
Oh, yeah, we got No Love Matt. So we'll start with I Love Football, and then we'll go to No Love Matt. That's perfect. Thanks, buddy.
That's fine.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. All right, mailbag coming up. Mailbag coming up. What did Clay say that you want to put him in? You want to put Clay in timeout because he said we're going 1-16? Jerry, are you going to put me in timeout if I say we're going to go 1-16?
Jerry's going to drop the hammer on you.
Jerry's trying to bring the hammer down on the Saints Now live chat. Clay, I'm not going to put you in timeout, dude. I like that hat in your picture, by the way, Jerry G. That's a fresh-looking lid.
New picture?
Yeah, I got a new pick. It's sick.
Is that like a salute to service one?
Huh?
Is that like a salute to service
I
hat?
can't tell if that's the salute to service hat or not, but it looks fresh. It's like the khaki, like dark tan with the fleur-de-lis. I think it just I love the dark like tan colored hats.
Colors.
I think they look so fresh.
You like the neutral colors?
Huh?
Like neutral colors.
Yeah. Like the neutral colors. They look so good. Pablo says, answer my question when you did a segment, please. Pablo, did you use hashtag Saints when you asked your question? Because if not, then I cannot. And I'm scrolling up, and I don't see a question from you, Pablo. I don't know how long ago you asked it. But make sure you use hashtag Saints so that way we can. Oh, you did. Spend a lot of money on a very good wide receiver or bring back OBJ or Michael. Okay, got you. I got your question. It's in there. Wanted to make sure that you did. Thank you for your question, Pablo. Actually, it's a pretty good question. Spend a bunch of money on a receiver or go sign.
I can tell you the answer. The choices are spend money or Odell Beckham / Michael Thomas. I can tell you the answer right now.
I'm gonna tell you who's available in free agency at wide receiver right now. Treylon Burks is. Oh. We could go throw him the bag. Dare I say, sign Treylon Burks? Arkansas legend? What? Go get Arkansas legend Treylon Burks? That would be crazy.
Ooh, Barry's kind of gas. Tastes like Sour Patch Kids.
No, dude, the Barry one's good.
I'm just learning this one.
Fun fact. Treylon Burks, so former first-round pick, update from Ian Rappaport. He's been recovering from a broken collarbone since training camp, has been cleared for all football activities. The Titans team physician says Burks was released from IR and can sign with anyone. So, Saints Sign.
Saints are anyone.
Sign.
The Saints are, in fact, anyone.
And look, here's the deal. The Arkansas Razorbacks are a factory of NFL players. Have you ever heard of John Ridgway? You ever heard of Hunter Henry? Frank Ragnow? Isaac Tesla? Cam Little? Yeah. Factory of NFL talent. That's what it comes out. In terms of available wide receivers, Gabe Davis got signed, didn't he?
I think.
Didn't Gabe Davis get signed? Yeah, I don't know how accurate this list is. Genuinely don't even know who's available in free agency right now because there's just probably not that many.
Gabe Davis on the Bills signed in September 2025.
Yes, that's right. He signed with the Bills. Zach says we're beating the Falcons both times. Let's do it. All righty, Lopez. What do you say we power through this and then we sign off? Sounds good. All righty. Use hashtag Saints. Send in a super chat. Are we good on questions, by the way? Or do we need a few more? Clay says, I live in Arkansas, and Arkansas football is his favorite team. You're a ball knower, Clay. I don't think you're a bigger Razorback fan than I am, but there you go. He says, LSU blows. I live in Arkansas, and I hate LSU football.
He didn't say that.
Yes, he did. That's exactly what it says.
Where does it say that?
It says exactly that. I live in Arkansas, and I hate LSU football. That's exactly what it says.
My bad, Clay. I was not reading your messages, Clay. You're cool in my book. I was about to say, Clay, you blow, but
that's so
I read the message.
That's so funny.
Sorry, Clay.
That's so good. Jartavia says, go Hogs. I love that y'all show out for the Hogs for me. It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. I see Pablo saying, go all out for Sauce Gardner. Would you guys want to sign or trade for Sauce Gardner? Coverage grade of 60.6, 0 interceptions, 3 pass breakups. Kool-Aid McKinstry has had a better season than Sauce Gardner, but don't look, and he's going to cost you a lot of money. Clay says go back to school. I don't need to go back to school. I went to the best school in the world, and I got 2 degrees from it. The University of Arkansas, the Harvard of the Ozarks is what they call it. The Harvard of the SEC.
Oh,
no, that's Vanderbilt.
See, we're getting carried
That's
away
Vanderbilt. That's Vanderbilt.
That's the only reason we keep Vanderbilt around. They help our GPAs.
I love football. I love you. Fist bump, bro. Fist bump. There you go. Clay says I need to go back to school. Sounds like you need to go back to school, Clay. You're the one stuck in Arkansas, dude. I envy you, bro. I wish I was stuck in Arkansas. Greatest state in the whole wide world outside of Texas and Louisiana. It's up there. Underrated, for sure, though.
We can all agree Mississippi's the worst state, right?
Mississippi blows. There's not one cool thing about Mississippi.
Like, that's
I stayed in Natchez for a night. That was pretty cool. Natchez was really, really cool. Some dope restaurants. Beautiful history. Beautiful, like, architecture out there. Maybe not beautiful history, but a lot of Southern history. Maybe not ideal. Maybe not a history that people love. But, nonetheless, tons of it, which is interesting. That doesn't mean whatever. I'm not gonna try to salvage this. I went to Natchez and I had a good time. Say what you want about me. I thought Natchez was beautiful. Say what you want about me. I don't support what happened in Natchez before I was born 150 years ago. But I went now and I was like, well, this house is really pretty and that lake is really pretty and this bar is really sick and this grunge band playing at this dive bar sucks, but it's really fun because they're playing Hurricane, which was sick. I was born in the rain out on Palm Tree Trail. They were playing some of that shit.
We might have been. Awesome. I was thinking of the same, but a different song. I was thinking of Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Here I am.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Rock you like a hurricane. Da-na, da-na, da, da-na. Here I am. Da-na, da-na. Rock you like a hurricane. Clay, what we're not going to do is sit here and... What we're not going to do is sit here and tell Mile High to piss off because Mile High has been a supporter of us since last year's Thursday night game. He tunes into a ton of the content. And if he's a Broncos fan, I don't give a shit. He's good with me. So, Clay, you may not like Mile High, but he's not going anywhere. And he's good in my books. And I will defend Clay as long as I need to.
You're going to defend Clay?
Not Clay. I actually will go against Clay. I will defend Mile High. Whatever.
We're getting
I was just saying nothing personal.
Okay, now hug it out.
And I'm just saying, yeah, now y'all have to kiss.
Yeah.
Now y'all got to hug it out or kiss. Make it better.
And we're going to film it.
Mile High, you have to kiss Clay on the cheek. Clay, you have to kiss Mile High on the other cheek. Deal? Homies kiss each other goodnight. That's what happens in the real world, okay? Got to kiss your homies goodnight.
Hey, don't say nah like
yeah,
that,
you're not
Clay.
going to – yeah,
Yeah.
okay, Clay. You're not going to call Mile High tonight and say, I hope you have a good night, buddy. Yeah, okay, Clay.
Give him a little forehead kiss.
Yeah, just a little, I love you. How about one of those? A little, hope you have a good night. You know what I'm saying? Clay, I hope you know we're just having a good time, bro. We're just messing around. Just cracking jokes. That's what we do. Also, I know the Panthers have some wins, but let's not act like they're a good team. We're watching the Panthers versus Dolphins highlights. They suck.
They're like the Texans. They beat the teams that are really bad.
Yes, the Texans have only beat teams that are bad, and they lose to teams that are good. Just like the Saints.
No, the Giants are pretty good. The Giants were Super Bowl contenders until we beat them.
Yes,
We
we
now took their
played
Super Bowl
spoilers.
contention
Giants
from
are no longer going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we took their Super Bowl contention from them.
Yeah, Jameis Winston will not win a Super Bowl this season because of us.
Unless he gets traded to the Saints.
Which is why we should trade for him so he can go win
yeah,
a Super Bowl.
get him back in the
Duh! Yeah. Jerry, dude, that Baltimore game was atrocious. They're bad. Alrighty. I even said it. I think the Ravens might be one of the worst 5 teams in the NFL right now. For power rankings, I'm 100% putting tomorrow. Putting
There's
the
a
Ravens
shot
below.
the Saints are like 24.
I'm putting the Ravens below the Saints in my power rankings, and I'm not even going to feel sorry about it. I might put the Saints at 15.
If we win 2 in a row, we're in the top half. Right now, we can argue for top 20. We can argue for top 20.
Top 25, I'd give you.
Oh, I think
Top 25 for
I
sure.
could have them in
I think
24, 23.
I think you can make an argument that they're 24, 23 for sure. I think that's a very
Honestly, I think anybody that has them lower than like 26, it's just out of spite.
Yeah, it's a they just
They're
want to
hating.
they want to get me or you mad, but they don't really. But you're not going to get mad. I will.
Marshall Green's gonna put the Saints like 33.
Yeah, Marshall's gonna put the Saints below the Giants still, but it's
I might
okay.
actually remember to fill out the power rankings today.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely filling out the power rankings tonight.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
I'm gonna make a statement with it. I might put Saints at like 6, just to skyrocket their rankings.
really fuck up those averages.
Just really mess them up. I might just totally mess them up and just be like, yep, we're putting the Chiefs at 29.
What if we just do that with all the teams? We just shoot everybody. Like
We're just like, all right,
we really. Just
the
fuck
Eagles are the
average.
32nd team. It's basically reverse order.
Yeah.
So all of the points are just completely
We just
skewed.
fuck the averages.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
If-
Just completely.
If it's like the shorts team though, they might just cut you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
fuck that.
it's just like what's it called? It would be like dude, Saints game just came on here. Those first 2 drives were so bad. I thought after the first 2 drives this game was done. But then we turned it around, which was awesome. All right, mailbag time. Let's get into it. Y'all got questions, we got answers. Let's break it on down. Who recovered that fumble? Was that Justin Reid? Oh no, he was marked down right there. That's right.
You think that's where he got concussed?
No, it was in the end zone. I mean, that could have been what it was, but he wasn't concussed enough to. He was non-concussed enough to grab the football. Also, I still don't love that Dan Bellinger catch ruled. I got the one
it
here.
was a
I
very
still don't love
questionable
that.
First
I s-
drive with calls. Because they also had that. What was the pass interference on?
Yeah,
kool-aid.
I still don't love that because that came out of his hands. Also, is that Chris Rumpf all the way back there? Yeah, that was just such a gimme. I think that's where the injury happened. Hold on. So here's the touchdown. Let's see if we can see a hit or anything here. Justin Reid right there.
No, I think it was just blown coverage.
So it might have been the second touchdown then.
No, I think he was out after the first drive.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe it was on that. Maybe it was on that fumble thing, and that's when he just came out after the drive
Yeah, like nobody thought about it.
because he didn't. I don't. It's crazy. Crazy. Alvin Kamara. See, Talise Fuwage just kept moving. That he's breaking that one away. Oh well. All right. Mailbag time. Y'all have questions. We have answers. This one's Tushy.
Yes.
Sweet. Let's break it on down here on the show. Mailbag coming at you.
Oh, my clock.
You're good. Mm-hmm. Welcome into our mailbag edition of Saints Now by Chat Sports. The Golden Gang has questions, and me and my guy Loco Lopez, we got answers. So if you want to be a part of the next mailbag, we do these every single live show. Mondays at 3 p.m. Central Time, Thursdays at 3 p.m. Central Time. So I hope you guys tune into the content. And if you want the Saints to beat the Patriots and get the win streak to 2 in a row, like this video, hit the thumbs up icon and let's go get the Saints another win so we can celebrate a second consecutive victory Monday. First question coming in from our friend I Love Football. By the way, bro, you sent a fist bump in the message, so fist bump to you. Are you nervous about the Patriots? I feel like that's a great question actually to have right after the, encouraging to like the video. If you're nervous, don't be. Like the video. I'm just kidding. I actually am a little bit nervous. Like, for full transparency here, I thought going into this week, Patriots were one of those teams that was like, they're good, they're scrappy, they're going to have a lot of fight, they have some talent, but they're still young and they got a lot of development to still be had. However, you also saw them, I'm not going to say dominate the Bills, but they handled them pretty well. And they ended up winning the game. And I thought that Drake May looked really, really, really good. And I think Ramondre Stevenson is going to cause a lot of problems for the black and gold. So to answer your question, I am nervous about the Patriots. I do think that that's a team that should beat us, but I think it's a winnable game. It helps that you're at home. It helps that the dome field advantage is back. And if Kellen Moore and the Saints can put together another clean game, sure, why not? Lopez, what do you think on this one?
One of my biggest takeaways, especially early on in that game yesterday, the Patriots were giving the Bills chances. They were fumbling the balls.
Yep.
They couldn't hold on to the ball.
Yep.
If that carried over into next week, the Saints' defense we saw yesterday, very opportunistic. Five turnovers.
Consecutive turnovers.
5 turnovers. Wish the offense put up a little more points with 5 turnovers, but
well, and to piggyback off that, Lopez, I like the word you used. They were very opportunistic. I think that the Saints, if they can turn the opportunities that they're given, remember 5 turnovers, 5 touchdowns would have been awesome. You didn't get 5 touchdowns. I think you only got 1 touchdown off of a turnover. And no. I think the Rashid Shaheed touchdown, was that after?
That was in the second quarter.
That was in the second quarter. You're right. No, you're totally right. The only touchdown we got off of a turnover was the Jordan Howden touchdown. No, you're totally correct. I don't know about it. You're the new host, by the way. But I think that this is one of those games for the Saints in week 6. You had the opportunities. Now you have to take advantage of those opportunities. You showed that you can create some explosive plays. Now it's time to create multiple explosive plays multiple times throughout the game. Not just here and there, but throughout the entire game. Like, you don't need every play to be explosive. You don't need every play to be a 30, 40-yard gain, but you should be looking to have more than a couple 20-yard gains in the offense. Just my opinions. Appreciate you asking, though. I love football. No love Matt. So we have I love football and no love Matt. Are y'all brothers by chance, or like cousins or something? With the way Rattler's been playing in the unknown and Shuck, who should the Saints draft if we get a top 3? He clarified, or a top 5 pick. Maybe I'm alone in this opinion. I don't think I am, but maybe I am alone on it. The New Orleans Saints have a top 5 pick. I'm not drafting a quarterback. I'll even go further to say this. If the New Orleans Saints have the ability to have a top 3 pick, I would rather trade out of the top 3 than take a quarterback. Nussmeier hasn't been impressive enough for me. He's injured, and we've already had this extensive history of drafting injured players, so why would we do it again? Not going to do it. Not going to make an exception just because he's at school at LSU. I'm not going to. Or because his dad's the OC. I'm not going to make an exception just because of that. There will be interest, but I'm not going to make an exception. Cade Klubnik hasn't been good. Arch Manning not nearly ready to come out yet. Fernando Mendoza has been pretty good, but I'm not using a top 3 pick on him. John Mateer's been good, not using a top 3 pick on him. Taylon Green, not using a top 3 pick on him. Like, if it's me, I would rather go Caleb Downs, Reuben Bain Jr. Go get me an edge rusher. Go get me a safety. Go get me a weapon. That's what I want. I want a weapon. Whether it's offensive or defensive, I don't care if it's the best receiver in the game. I don't care if it's the best safety in the game. I don't care if it's the best edge rusher. I would rather use a top selection on a player that immediately will walk in and make an impact, because I do think you still have time to get an evaluation on Shuck. They drafted him at 40th overall for a reason. Spencer Rattler, we don't know if he's a long-term solution. He's playing good football right now, but there's a big difference between being good and being great. And there's an even bigger difference between being good and being elite. And call me crazy, I would like an elite quarterback. Am I an asshole for saying that? No, but I would like an elite quarterback. So if it's me, top few selections, I'm going weapons, I'm going offensive receiver, not a running back, not a tight end. Like, that's maybe receiver's really the only one I'd go with. Defensively, I love the idea of Caleb Downs. Especially Caleb Downs and Jonas Sanker. That would be just lethal. Are you kidding me? That'd be so hard to scheme up against. But I also wouldn't mind going with an edge rusher or a really, really quality defensive lineman. I think that those are the 2 positions I would prefer to use a top pick on. Krogan, should Tyler Shuck start next week? No. The answer is no. I've said this in previous videos. I've said this on live shows before. If you're at a blackjack table and you're hot, you get up or do you keep playing? The smart people, maybe they get up so they can just walk away with their winnings, but most people stay. And if you have a hot hand, why would you take it away? Like, in my personal opinion, I actually feel like week 5 was a must-win for Spencer Rattler. Had he lost this game, I think there's a conversation about it. But he got it done. And even had he lost this game, I don't think the Saints would have started him. I think, if anything, Spencer Rattler has at least bought himself time until the bye week. We have to see how these next few games go, and we have to see how this team is looking by then. But for right now, on Monday, October 6th at 4:30 p.m. Central Time, I firmly believe that Rattler bought himself more time as a starter for the New Orleans Saints. And whether that means it's just a few more weeks, whether that means it's to the end of the season, you still do need to figure out whether or not Tyler Shuck is the guy. And so for New Orleans, I think putting him in right now would be a bad decision. I think it would hinder Spencer Rattler's development. And I think the best thing you can do right now is continue to give Rattler chances and to continue to give him opportunities to prove himself. And for what it's worth, I do think that Spencer Rattler should not get off the field anytime soon whatsoever. You know what I do think the Saints need to do, though? Is I think they need to clean up the crappy situation they got going on with Mickey Loomis, because that guy is a moron. And you know what? A lot of people said that this team was crappy for a long, long time. Made fun of us. Said that we stink. But it doesn't hurt nearly as much because I use a Tushy Bidet. And you, too, can get a Tushy Bidet if you head on over to HelloTushy.com and use promo code CHAT. Tushy is the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. 99% of people who wash with the Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. Every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. And look, it's never too soon to plan for super bowel season, so installing a Tushy bidet makes the bathroom visit so much more comfortable for you, your guests, and your pipes. Tushy Bidet gives you 2-in-1 benefits, reducing irritation, preventing micro tears with soothing water instead of scratchy toilet paper or damaging wet wipes. It's also so easy to use. You stop, drop, plop, sit, cleanse, and dry using the built-in air dryer. That's right, cleaning yourself is now hands-free in the bathroom. Remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe. So for a limited time, our listeners at Saints Now by Chat Sports get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at HelloTushy.com with promo code CHAT. The link is in the comments and description of this video. Click that link if you want to go get yourself a new gift. If you want to get yourself a new thing to make your throne even better, Be the king of the bathroom. Get a Hello Tushy right now, and I promise you won't regret it. I use mine every single day, and I will continue to use it every day. Anonymous. Did y'all see the Stavi video? He got so mad. He's like, Roger Goodell, this is anonymous, and we're going to put stuff on your computer if you don't make the Ravens good. It's like legitimately. Lopez and I watched that video probably 40 times. Whoever this is, shout out to you, dude. That is legitimately one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Do I think the Saints will win the division? No, I don't. I think this is the Bucs division, full transparency. And as much as it pains me to say that, and as annoying as it is to say they're probably winning it, what is it now, 5 times in a row? I mean, like, that's annoying. But they're much better than all the other teams in football. Baker Mayfield playing like a top 5, top 10 quarterback right now. I would put him in the MVP conversation today. And he doesn't have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. He's playing great football. They have Emeka Egbuka. Their defense doing some crazy things. Of course, they gave a lot of points yesterday, but they found a way to win. So I think it's the Bucs division. The Panthers are not good. The Falcons are not good again. They think they are, but they're not. I will not give the Buccaneers a lot of credit. I hate them, but they're going to win it. Danola, what did you think of the offensive line performance? Well, no sacks is awesome. They did give up a lot of pressures. They did give up a lot of they did put Spencer Rattler under a lot of pressure. They didn't hold their blocks very well against the Giants. Torsilli Simpkins specifically, a player that a lot of people have been super duper high on. I'm going to give you guys his PFF grades here. Again, take it with a grain of salt. Pro Football Focus isn't the gospel. But when you earn a 0.0 pass blocking grade because you gave up 1 hit, 5 hurries, and 6 pressures, and you had a penalty, not great. That doesn't mean he can't be good. That doesn't mean I hate him. That doesn't mean I want to cut him. But all in all, the offensive line gave up 0 sacks. I think Spencer Rattler is heavily to credit for that, for getting the ball out and avoiding the pressure very well. I think that's been a big part of his development that's been under-discussed. So I think the offensive line was good. I don't think they were great, but they gave up 0 sacks. So it's a win in my book. Good progress for the O-line. Haley Hall, should we go sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson due to the Justin Reid injury? So, hold on. Lopez, help me remember here. Because we talked about this before. Doesn't C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he wants his, I can't remember, does he want his role to be more of a blitzer, or does he want his role to be more of a coverage guy? I can't remember what the reports were that came out. I know he was unhappy with his role in Houston, and I know that he wasn't a great locker room fit, but I'm having a hard time remembering exactly what it was. Either or.
We might have the quote. Give me a second.
Yeah, give us 1 second. We have some information. It might be loaded in the computer from a few weeks ago. All in all, let me just say this. I'm not going to sit here and say that C.J. Gardner-Johnson would be a good replacement for Justin Reid. I also don't think Justin Reid is somebody who's going to be missing severe time. He was tweeting throughout the game. He was on the sideline celebrating with the team after the win. So, like, when you have a concussion and you're on your phone, you're in bright lights in a loud environment, I take that as good signs. I hope I'm correct when I say this, but I don't think that he's going to be missing some serious time. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, although, of course, it would be a fun reunion, he's been a little bit of a problem when it comes to being a locker room guy. And the Saints and Kellen Moore are trying to establish a strong locker room, and I don't think that that's something I'm interested in trying to risk. Productive player when he's available, but is he worth the headaches? That's kind of the question you have to answer. For what it's worth, I do think that the Saints are missing a player like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think that should be Alontae Taylor. But I don't think it's apples to apples. C.J. Gardner-Johnson wouldn't come in and replace the role that Justin Reid has, in my opinion. Queen Courtney, thank you for the question, though, Haley. Queen Courtney, what's going on, girl? How do you feel about our young defensive back group after yesterday in No to Arch? Agree. We need to chill on the march for Arch. I don't think he's anywhere near being ready for the National Football League. Young DB group yesterday. Confidence is through the sky. I'm not going to lie to you and say that, I thought this was just one good game. This was a breakout game for the defensive backs as a whole. 5 turnovers in 5 consecutive drives is awesome. And the fact that New Orleans was able to see Kool-Aid McKinstry get his first 2 interceptions, Jonas Sanker get his second week in a row with a turnover. You were able to see them be opportunistic, like Lopez said earlier. My thoughts and my opinions on this defensive back group are through the roof right now. Lopez, what do you think of this squad?
I think this performance came at a perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Giants don't have the greatest receivers out there, especially with Malik Neighbors out for the year. But you're going to have a challenge this week with Stephon Diggs. We saw that on Sunday Night Football. He had a hell of a game. Drake May is starting the ball out, too.
You got Kayshon Boutte over there, too, who's
exactly,
going to be doing some good things for them as well.
So a guy like Kool-Aid McKinstry getting 2 picks yesterday against the Giants, getting that confidence going into this week where you're going to see better talent, You're going to see better receivers. Can't ask for much more.
And I don't want to say that Quincy Riley is the reason that this all happened. I don't think he is. Certainly interesting, though, when you see Quincy Riley and Kool-Aid McKinstry line up. They both have a good game.
Was it Quincy Riley being on the field or Isaac Yiadom being off?
Yes, I think is the answer to that question. I think the answer is yes. But Courtney, to answer yours, I'm feeling great. My defensive back confidence has gone through the roof at this point. Of course, the Justin Reid injury is something to monitor, but we'll have information. We'll have updates later. We're putting this video out on Wednesday, so later today, if you're watching this video on Wednesday. And I think that this is a squad that you're starting to see really take shape. And for what it's worth, Brandon Staley's defenses have been struggling and been a little bit underwhelming to start the season. It's starting to come together, in my opinion. What up, Kool-Aid? Oh, yeah! In your opinion, would you keep Trevor Penning this offseason? I'm going to take a cop-out answer here. I'm going to say it's still too early to tell. It took a while for him to get available, which was concerning. And there's a lot of good reports around him throughout the summer, so that gives me reason for optimism. But I think it's too early to consider paying him serious guard money right now. The Saints did not pick up his 5th-year option, so there is decisions to be made when it comes to Trevor Penning this offseason. And if you don't make a decision on Trevor Penning, then you're going to need to address the guard position. So in terms of what is the easiest decision or what's the easiest path for the Saints? Well, Trevor Penning stays on the field, plays good football, and earns an extension. I think that's the best thing for the Saints, and I think it's the best thing for Penning. Otherwise, you're going to need to use another draft pick on an offensive lineman, and I'm tired of drafting offensive linemen. It's just getting old. I want players whose jersey I will buy. Not knocking trench guys, but give me a fun receiver. Give me a fun edge rusher. It just be like that. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's video. Also, it's not like we've had amazing success drafting all the second-round picks and all the edge rushers and all the offensive linemen. Some have been good, some have been bad. Either way. Appreciate you guys for tuning into the live show. Appreciate you guys for tuning into our mailbag. If you guys want to be a part of the next one, I highly encourage you to subscribe and turn on your notifications. We go live, like I said at the beginning of this video, Monday, Thursday, 3 p.m. Central Time, as well as on game days an hour before kickoff. So make sure your notifications are on. Be sure to subscribe. Join the family and the Golden Gang. Y'all stay golden. We'll have injury report content coming out later today. We will see you later. All righty. It is time to wind down. Closing time. Oh, Pablo. Yes. Great question. Okay, we're getting to it. It got lost in the shuffle here. Last one coming in from Pablo. Spend a lot of money. Here, actually, let's not make this the last one. Can you splice it somewhat up to the... So, if it can be closer to the front, cool. If not, it's no big deal. It's nothing in the world, but for the sake of it. This one from Pablo. What's going on, Pablo? Spend a lot of money on a very good wide receiver or bring back Michael Thomas or OBJ. In the year of 2025, we're talking about signing Michael Thomas and OBJ. 4 years ago, all in on this idea. Would love it. 5 years ago, think this would be awesome. Nah, I'm good. I do think that it would be nice to give another weapon to whichever quarterback, Rattler or Shuck. Right now, Rattler, obviously. I think it would be really helpful in terms of also giving him better opportunities to develop and having more reliable weapons around him. My counter is instead of spending money that you sort of have, don't really have, and there's also, for the record, not a lot of good wide receivers available. If you're going to go spend money on a wide receiver, Treylon Burks is the guy that I would go and get. He was a first-round pick out of Arkansas, has had an extremely underwhelming start to his career in Tennessee. It's not like the Titans have been an excellent situation for him, though. But he's a bigger-bodied guy, a physical player that I think could be a contributor to this offense. Burks was released from IR and can sign with anyone, according to Ian Rappaport. So if you were to sign a wide receiver, Treylon Burks is really the only one I'm interested in. Otherwise, I'm not interested in shelling out draft picks or more draft capital or even more money for a wide receiver. I don't think it makes a ton of sense. And the fact that no team has signed Michael Thomas in the past few years just to me says he ain't coming back to the NFL. Whether or not you agree with it, whether or not you hate that he's done, his career is over in the National Football League. But Pablo, I really do appreciate the question. Definitely a fun topic to discuss nonetheless. Rad. Alrighty, we're going to sign off here on the show. It's been a really fun day. We have some more content to post, and we have some more things to do here at the office. So I appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us. For Loco Lopez, my name's Trizzy Trace. This has been Saints Now Live on Victory Monday. Hopefully another Victory Monday comes very soon. If not, we'll still be here. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you later.